Hi, this is Dan Whitney with the Whitney Law Firm in Towson, Maryland. Today we're going to talk about the issue of I have bed bugs in my apartment. So I've been a lawyer for about 10 years. I handle many bed bug cases against apartment complexes, hotels involving landlords, property managers, and we've recovered about approximately $14 million for our clients in bed bug cases for compensation for bed bugs, which includes bodily injury, emotional distress, and property damage. So today we're going to talk about the issue of bed bugs in my apartment. What do I do? So usually what happens is if somebody finds bed bugs in their apartment, one of two things has happened. One, they were tricked into moving into a bed bug infested apartment. How does this happen? Someone is living in the apartment, they have bed bugs, they move out. The landlord may know about it, the landlord may not have known about it. Either way, a landlord in Maryland has the duty to make sure that the apartment is free of infestation, including free of bed bugs, before the next tenant moves in. Now, what happens sometimes is a tenant will have bed bugs, they'll report it to the landlord treats several times, but the treatments don't work, because often they don't work because a lot of pest control companies don't do it right. Then the tenant moves out, and the landlord either does nothing or does a couple more treatments, but maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. And then when somebody is looking at that apartment, the landlord does not tell them, this apartment had bed bugs, we think it's gone, but we're not sure, but we just wanted to let you know so you can make a decision. They don't do that. They just say nothing, move the next person in, and when they complain, they usually say, look, you signed a lease, keep paying. What do I care? You got to pay me, you signed the lease, and we think you brought the bed bugs. That happens a lot, even though it's an obvious lie. Many landlords say that anyway. That's the first way. If you are living in an apartment, you have bed bugs, that's often what would happen. You've moved into a pre-existing infestation. The second way is you've been living in an apartment for a while and all of a sudden you start to notice bed bugs. How can this happen? This happens because often the infestation could come from one of the adjacent units, meaning above, below, or side to side. And that infestation will spread because bed bugs spread through walls and utility penetrations, through the floor, through cracks in the ceiling. I mean, they're tiny, so it's easy for them to spread. And what will happen is a neighbor has it, and they may report it to the landlord, who may then treat it, which when the chemicals or the heat is applied, the bugs will then spread to get away, of course, and move throughout the building. Which is why when treatments are done, if they're not done holistically with the inspections of the adjacent units, it's very hard to get control of an infestation. We see those cases a lot. Somebody gets the infestation because their neighbor had it. Either they bombed the apartment and the bugs spread, or the landlord treats it but doesn't inspect the adjacents and treat that as necessary, so the infestation just spreads, creating more misery. But either way, if you are living in an apartment and dealing with bed bugs, you have legal rights, and very often it is the landlord's responsibility to arrange for and pay for the treatment for that infestation so it eventually is eradicated. So if you're in Maryland and you are dealing with the issue of bed bugs in your apartment, please feel free to give me, Dan Whitney, a phone call. I have helped many people with bed bug cases across the state of Maryland and am happy to offer a free consultation. You just need to give a call. Send your documents in, send any photographs you have in, and we'll take a look, review it, and discuss with you your potential options if this looks like a case we would be able to help you with. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions about bed bug infestations in apartments or hotels, or bed bug settlements or bed bug compensation, please just leave a note in the comments, and if I can make a video on that subject, I would be happy to do so. So thank you for watching. If this has been helpful, please consider leaving a thumbs up. Thank you very much, and take care.